started. I love the dumplings with these.
Oh
wow. It's so different.
I did not expect that.
I decided to do a pop-up one day, so I did like back in Perth where I'm from, and I did a dumpling pop-up. The first night, like there was a line down the street, and we sold like 10,000 dumplings, and I was like, wow.
Hey there, welcome to the show where we embrace the fusion food culture of Taiwan. Today I have a very special guest with me. As you can probably see from the setup here, you can probably guess who we have on, what kind of food we're eating. He's a two-time Masterchef contestant, he's got 3 cookbooks to his name, and he's a certified dumpling expert. Recently, he also got the title of a certified street food expert. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brendan Pang on Fusion Persuasion. Wow, and there you are.
Here we go.
Magically
I have
appeared.
some dumplings.
Very on brand. Well, I guess we should just dig in, right? Just to get things started. I love the dumplings with these
yeah, with the
wings.
lace on the back of it.
Yeah.
Crunchy.
Oh
wow. It's so different.
I did not expect that.
I know what's in there. There's definitely stinky tofu in this one.
I don't think I've ever had a stinky tofu dumpling before.
I often go to Ningxia night markets, and I have the stinky tofu wontons, you know, the crispy ones.
You had that in your video, right? You showed that in your video.
It was like one of my first experiences with stinky tofu, which I think if anyone is coming to Taiwan, they should try that first, because it's a good way to try it for the first time, I guess.
To get introduced to it? Yeah.
Wow, this is awesome.
Wow, the chef, whoever made this. I feel like if we had this course in university, you would get like a PhD in dumpling studies, right? Like, I mean, you grew up with dumplings. I think most people know you from Masterchef for the first time. I'm really curious if that show means anything different to you now after you've established your own career and you've moved to a different country.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Masterchef has been quite life-changing, like a big part of how I got into food in the first place. But I think now looking back, but I think there's been so much time since then that I have, grown as a chef, grown as a person. I've run my own business, dumpling business, written cookbooks. But I think that the biggest moment for me, the defining moment of food, like beyond Masterchef, was that I decided to do a pop-up one day. So I did like back in Perth where I'm from, and I did a dumpling pop-up. So it was meant to be just for 4 nights only, over 4 weeks, like a month, basically. And the first night we prepped everything all week, like me and my family, we made dumplings.
Oh, you guys made the food for the pop-up together?
Yeah, we prepped everything like from scratch. We made the dumplings, like this basically.
Yeah.
And the first night, like there was a line down the street, and we sold like 10,000 dumplings. And I was like, wow. Because I think coming off the show, I didn't take myself that seriously.
Really?
No, because I was like, I've been on a show, but that doesn't mean like I'm not a Michelin chef or anything, just because I've been on TV.
But you don't go walking down the street and people recognize you and
they do, yeah.
You do?
I'm very level-headed about like where I come from
I see.
still. So I think going into that experience and having that pop up the first night, selling 10,000 dumplings was like, wow.
Wait, in one night?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Being like, wow, people really like this food.
Yeah.
They like that I'm cooking with my family. It's food that I grew up eating. It's not like fine dining, which is what I think people wanted, but they actually didn't want that. So it was a very reaffirming kind of experience for me.
Well, I think you've been really consistent with your brand of home cooking instead, as opposed to, like you said, fine dining. I think it's also about the story, right?
Yeah,
the story
absolutely.
of cooking with your family. Did you grow up doing that as a kid?
Like making dumplings was my aunties, my mum, my grandmère, my grandmother would sit around the table like folding dumplings. And the kids would be like running off playing, but I would often like want to be there like helping as well. The
classic like Asian family scene in movies, right?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really that like I was forced to, like my grandmother wasn't like, come here and like let's teach you.
You weren't forced to chop the green onions and
it was more like if I came to help out, they were like, what are you doing in the kitchen? Like
okay.
Not in a bad way. It was more like, you're gonna make a mess, like go play.
That is also very Asian, I must say.
So I was the one that kind of wanted to learn more. Like I wanted to make wontons, I wanted to make noodles from scratch. And I did. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of my food history, food inspiration, or my upbringing is based off. It comes from my family. Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of which, I think I'm gonna have another.
Yeah.
one.
Should we?
Yes, I think we should before it gets too cold. I jokingly say you have a PhD in dumpling studies.
Yeah,
but
okay.
you actually have a degree not in anything related to cooking.
Yeah.
Right? In architecture?
Yeah, I mean, when I finished school, I think growing up in Australia, because my parents were migrants in Australia, I think going to university to me, or education was, finding a job or like going into a course that...
Just trying to find a balance of like
Exactly,
doing what I want versus what people want me to do.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll do architecture, but I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into.
That's hard.
So then whilst I was doing that, I was volunteering a lot at the same time with kids in Aboriginal communities in Western Australia. And I was loving that so much, like being able to be hands-on with people, making a difference, using my creative skills in a way, as opposed to like being behind a laptop or behind a piece of paper just writing and drawing. Yeah. So then I changed and did social work. Right. Eventually graduated. Yeah. And then found myself in a job in child protection, working for the government. I was like, why am I here? Corporate, right? Yeah. I was like, why am I here again behind a computer? So I was fishing every weekend, cooking, and enjoying my life.
So you were starting to...
Yeah. Outside of work, I was enjoying my life, and I was like, this is what I kind of enjoy, and I find more meaning in. Mum would often tell me stories because I never grew up in Mauritius with them. I was there quite young when I was a baby. Yeah. But Mum would tell me stories of when she was young, like my grandmother and grandfather would make big pots of soup and rice and like lentils and dishes like that.
That's the quintessential Mauritian.
Yeah, or like or easy bulk food, and they would feed the homeless basically.
I see.
I think it's been instilled in me from such a young age to be quite giving and caring, and if I can, like, also give back to the community. So I would love to, in some way, if I can, bring the two careers together somehow, or two passions. Yeah, and I did last year. I ran some cooking classes with refugee men in Western Australia.
Oh,
wow. So it was it kind of reminded me about why I did social work in the first place and how I can.
It's a great way to connect your two lives.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, now you're in Taiwan. We have something to give to you.
Okay.
So we actually have a very special. So we have this dumpling. We can continue eating it, of course.
Okay.
But we have a dessert.
Okay.
Prepared for us. So, ooh.
Wow, this is so cool.
Is this some sort of dumpling as well?
I'm gonna smell it.
Can you smell?
I mean, I can see gingerbread. I can smell the ginger syrup quite strongly. But the dumpling, I mean, just like the first one, we can't really tell what's inside of it. So I'm curious to see.
Let's try it.
Let's see. Oh wow! What is that?
I was looking towards you to expect to get an answer from you. I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's good.
Oh, it's the ginger. I think when you try the syrup, it kind of hits you in the back of your throat.
You know this.
And brown sugar as well.
Brown sugar. So this is like quintessential, like winter time. Yeah.
What do you call it in Taiwan?
姜茶.
Jiangxia.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're taking Mandarin lessons.
I am. I've had my second Mandarin lesson.
All right, you're catching up. Well, funnily enough, when I did my military service, I did it in Jingmen. I don't know if you know Kinmen. It's one of the off islands of Taiwan that's close to China. Yeah. I did it during the winter time, so they would serve this all the time because it gets really cold there. And this is like a saving grace. So I think this is a very quintessential drink.
I love it.
This dumpling itself is also from, so there's another one called Matsu, which is further up north. Okay. Basically also belongs to Taiwan. Okay. It's just closer to China.
So I think the filling has, now that I'm inspecting a bit further, has chocolate and peanuts in there, some kind of nuts.
Peanuts.
And then the pastry is quite thick and has quite a bit of body, so I think maybe some kind of root vegetable, sweet potato.
Sweet potato, probably sweet potato. I'm hearing a lot of yeses from outside of the camera, so you passed the test. Congratulations. We can continue with the interview.
Okay. Let me eat the rest of this first.
Yes, please. So, as you know, sweet potato is one of the staples here in Taiwan. Actually, Taiwan. I know you probably know that Taiwan has this nickname of like a sweet potato island because it's also shaped like sweet potato.
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah.
But I also learned that there was a harbor in Tainan, a certain city of Taiwan that used to be called Sweet Potato port.
Oh, okay.
But it just shows you like the importance of this.
Yeah.
You got like sweet dumplings in other countries. But
Yeah.
usually you don't have it in Asia, right?
Is the difference between the West and
Yeah.
Asian desserts is that I think, especially Taiwanese desserts,
Yeah.
they use a lot of traditionally savory ingredients, like red bean, like bean.
Yeah.
Someone was talking to me about this the other day from Australia because they were like, "Why are you eating red bean in dessert?" Like they think it's weird.
Yeah.
And I can see where they come from because
Yeah.
in in the UK, in Australia, they use beans like baked beans on toast is savory as breakfast. And then things like taro, which is a root vegetable. I think people think of that more as like
A vegetable.
potatoes, like roast potatoes. So I love when I come to Taiwan how they implement that in desserts. It's got like that earthy, subtle sweet. It's not too sweet, which I love as well.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
a more natural sweetener.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
will.
yeah. And texture is so big here, right? Like what do you call it? Like QQ?
QQ, yeah.
I love it.
Expert. I'm telling you. This is really good. I think it's a good way to showcase Taiwan in a different angle too. Like we talked about the different off islands, which is often forgotten by a lot of the people who visit Taiwan. Have you been to like the off islands yet? Or
Not yet. No,
Okay.
I'd like to. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got a lot. I think they've got a lot more like root vegetables and very earthy ingredients there
Yeah.
because the weather is so harsh. The climate is so harsh. It's hard to grow anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
So they rely a lot on these kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You also have another YouTube video all about street food. You had. I was amazed how much street food you had in that one video.
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. What are some of your favorites?
So many. I love like breakfast here is a big one for me. Like I love like Dumpling, like Fantuan. I love like the pan fried buns on the side of the street. What else? Like stinky tofu. I love.
Glad we had it.
There's so much. I mean, I love like sesame noodles. I love tofu pudding. I love.
You really do love everything, huh?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why you have this new book.
Yes.
Yeah. All about a book about street food.
This is a book about street food.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm very proud of this because
Yeah.
it's my travels in the past year and a half
Yeah.
and my time here in Taiwan.
Yeah.
And writing it, I've spent most of my time writing it here. Even in the photos in the book, I took them.
took here?
Yeah, locally in Taiwan. And you can even see like, there's just subtle hints of Taiwan in there. Like,
Ooh, we love that.
some of the recipes. I'll see if I can find one. Oh, here, like the congee, for example. You can see like the Taiwan beer,
the beer
glasses in the back.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the kanji.
Which
but
has got nothing to do with it, but I mean, I shot it here and I wanted to kind of pay respect to that.
that's lovely.
Yeah,
Now
which is awesome.
Now that's the way to market Taiwan. You just throw some Taiwan beer
Just
in
some
there.
subtle,
Yeah. So yeah, why did you want to make a book about street food? And why not anything else that you grew up with, like Mauritian?
Absolutely. Well, for me, I mean, I think my exploration of street food has reminded me of my family so much.
Okay.
You know, eating at street food vendors, these families that run little stalls. A bit like when I ran my dumpling truck in Perth with my family. So coming here and meeting all these different vendors that have specialized in this one dish, whether it's like guabao or like stinky tofu or grilled sausages. They've just been doing it for years and they have perfected it so well. So I kind of wanted to take that experience and share it with the rest of the world. So people that can't come here, people that can't travel, if they want to recreate like Taiwanese beef noodles back at home, I've put that into the book for them. So
Right, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's nice that you bring up this angle for street food because I guess most, I dare I say most of the street food in Asia, not just in Taiwan, they're family owned.
They are,
And they start from small stalls and small like trucks. And then they eventually, like the ones at Ningxia my market, they all started with like small food trucks. And then now a lot of them they have their own restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely.
more
It's
than one.
awesome because they've started from such humble beginnings, right?
Right. Yeah. And so in that sense, yes, it does tie in with your way of your philosophy to cooking, which is to cook for the people and with the people.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to go back to your family. This is about dumplings today, but it's also, I think, turned into something more than that. I think it's about the communal aspect of making dumplings. So can you just share a little bit more about how your family, especially your mother and your grandmother, how they affected and inspired your palate in cooking and in eating as well?
For me, food is such a central part of like
Yeah.
my family life growing up.
Sure.
Being Mauritian, being Chinese Mauritian.
Yeah.
Anything that we planned, whether it was a birthday or a get together on the weekend, it was always like, what are we going to eat? Where are we going to go to eat? What are you cooking? I'm cooking this. So it was already like ingrained in me in such a young age.
Yeah.
And then growing up, my grandmother often taught me dumplings and noodles. So a lot of savory cooking. Like she also taught me a lot about fishing, seafood.
Does she fish?
Growing up, we would fish a lot. Not like commercial fishing.
I was like, wow.
No, she'd take me out fishing in Perth. And
Yeah.
we have good seafood in Australia, so
Yeah.
she'd take me fishing and take me back home and then teach me how to, I guess like, scale the fish,
That's very valuable.
fillet the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she'd often have chickens as well in her backyard. So I think like
Oh,
from
wow.
such a young age, I was kind of so interested in all that stuff. Like I think my cousins were not so much interested, my brother not so much, but I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And then we get
Just
to cook.
came natural
Yeah,
to
we
you.
get to cook it and eat it after.
Yeah.
And then it was like I wanted to taste it and see how it tasted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
definitely. I think my mum, like, she has always been very experimental and creative as
Yeah.
well. We're both very creative people.
Yeah.
And there's one dish that I always think about that really stands out for me is roast is such a big thing in Australia. I mean, it comes from the UK, but a lot of people love their roast. They love roast lamb.
Yeah.
So mum, I think she tried this one day at a restaurant or at a friend's, and basically you get a big piece of lamb, like a leg or a shoulder, and you lather it or like smother it with Vegemite.
That is Australian.
Yeah.
Is there another way you see in terms of like similarities between Australian cuisine and Taiwanese cuisine?
Flavors are very different.
Yeah.
Textures are very different. Australians coming here wouldn't traditionally like the QQ, like you know, the mochi or
Yeah.
the sweet potato bowls,
Yeah.
those kind of things. But I think what is similar in terms of culture is that we're very driven by produce.
Okay.
A lot of people here love their fresh produce
Yeah.
from the markets.
Yeah.
Love fresh, whether it's like chicken or fruit and vegetables,
Yeah.
seafood.
Yeah.
Australia is the same, and a lot of menus now. Like a lot of people ask me, like, what is Australian food? And for me, there's no way to define that. We're such a young, multicultural country. There's heaps of different influences, but the one thing is produce. Like we really focus on that, and I think Taiwan does that too.
I was gonna say that's pretty much the same with Taiwan, and which is really why we're doing this show is because there's just so much. It's just a melting pot of flavors.
Absolutely.
So, is there one Taiwanese food? With that in mind, is there one Taiwanese food that really represents you? You think, or that,
Me?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. One that really represents me.
You can take that however you like, metaphorically, flavor-wise.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I mean, I do have to go back to my first experience having stinky tofu.
Okay.
It was, I don't know what drew me to it. I mean, I love eating kimchi. I love eating smelly cheeses like blue cheese.
Just pungent. Like.
Yeah, I don't like durian. That's like a no-no.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
But
yeah.
smelling stinky tofu like at the markets, I was like, oh, what is this? Like, I need to try it.
Yeah.
And so many people talk about it being something that's like very jarring, like they don't like
Yeah.
it, or they can't even go close to it. But I love the flavor of it. But the one stall that I go to, like at Ningxia night markets, is the one where they wrap it in wontons. And for me, because like I grew up making wontons with my
Yeah.
grandmother,
Yeah.
so there's like that one store where I always go back to, and I'm always like, I need to have these while I'm here.
Oh, you always go back to the same.
Yeah, I always go back.
Oh
and
wow,
have that,
that's been like that's become
and they
like
also do like fried stinky tofu with the salted egg yolk sauce as well, and like just in a few different ways.
You
which I
can't
love.
go wrong with salted egg. Yeah. We have a small game later,
Okay.
but before that, I have one last question for you
Okay,
that
okay.
we ask every guest on this show.
Yeah.
Is that if you could create a fusion dish,
Okay.
however you want to take it, what would be the dish?
A fusion dish.
Yeah.
As in fusion of Taiwanese
Yeah.
and Australian flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a few different ones there. I think if taking inspiration off what we've had today.
Yeah.
The dumplings with the stinky tofu in it. And then going back to the story of my mum making roast lamb with Vegemite.
Yes.
I think I would make a fusion dumpling with a Vegemite lamb filling.
Ooh. Oh, that's no.
I actually think it would be really tasty.
I know. I was gonna say.
I mean, the meat would be like savory and rich and juicy. And then you just wrap that in like a morsel size, a bit of texture on there, like crisp, like the ones we had.
Yeah. Oh.
I think that
wow.
would be really good. Yeah.
Ooh. No, for this restaurant.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, bring the game on.
Oh.
More dumplings.
Ooh, okay, more dumplings.
Have you made dumplings with different colors before?
I have actually.
Yeah?
It was
Yeah.
one of the first things I posted on social media years ago.
Oh.
I did like rainbow dumplings.
Ah, this is what it
Yeah.
is, I guess. So the game is really easy. It's super easy. We eat these dumplings,
Yeah.
and the first person who eats the one with the red dates in them, if you eat that, you get to talk more about your book.
Oh, okay.
If you don't, we'll throw this book out into the trash. So,
Oh, okay.
no, we won't do that.
I'll
but
just talk about the book anyway.
give it to me. Okay, so yeah, pick your first one and I'll pick my
Oh, is
first
it one by one? I'm gonna take this one.
The yellow. Okay, my
Yeah.
favorite color is green, so I'm gonna take the green. All right,
Alrighty,
cheers. No. No. You're like checking. Okay, next one.
I'll go the black one.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with the red one.
I feel like I might be the winner here. Okay. Oh, I win.
You got it?
I got it.
Is it pork? Or is it fish?
Date and pork.
Oh, I have the fish, you have the pork.
I had pork, yeah.
Oh, congratulations! We don't have to throw your book out. Yay! Well, so we've talked a bit about this book. Let me ask you this: is there one dish, like one Taiwanese street food dish that you want to, other than stinky tofu, that you want to recommend? Be like, this is
Yeah, I think something different in the book that
Yeah.
I would want people to try if they can
yeah.
is oyster omelette.
Okay, that was not
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, especially back home in Australia, think of oysters as fresh oysters, like
Yeah.
you eat them fresh,
Yeah.
or if it's cooked, it's like oysters Kilpatrick. But they would never have had it in like an oyster omelette itself with
yeah.
you know the sauce on top.
Yeah.
So that
starch
is one that I think people should try. It's such a nice dish.
Yeah. Well, I'm very glad that I did this with you, and I'm glad to that you're venturing out from your dumpling and noodle world into
Yes,
a lot
thank you
more
so much.
flavors
It's
and
been a
palates.
pleasure.
I have a strong sort of epiphany after talking to you today, is that, and I mean this in the best way possible.
Okay, okay.
I know it's gonna be scary.
You're setting me up here.
I know, yeah. I feel like the way you cook and your philosophy is really is really like a dumpling.
Okay, okay.
It's like you are dumpling. Is what I'm trying to say.
I am dumpling, okay.
You are dumpling. Well, what I mean is, you know, again, dumplings are so like they can take anything, right? Like you can put sticky tofu in it, you can put sweet stuff and savory stuff.
Okay.
And I think your approach to it, from what I've learned, is it's really more about the communal aspect of it, even if it's online, right? I'm sure
absolutely.
you cherish people giving you feedback
Yeah,
about cooking and about trying new flavors.
Yeah.
And that's linked and very much the spirit of I think Taiwanese food as well.
Yeah.
It's about experimenting with flavors and with different ingredients that you probably can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to have talked with you
Thank
today.
you. I mean,
about
like
this.
for me, it's like, what's the point of cooking and just keeping it to yourself? So
Yeah.
I find pleasure in not only cooking, but then also sharing that with others. So it's been a pleasure talking about all things dumplings, street food.
Yes, never bored.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it non-stop. So thank you so much.
Well, let's share this meal.
Share one more.
And finish this. shall
Alrighty.
we?
Yes.
All right,
Cheers.
cheers. Wow, you've made it this far. Thank you so much. You're a star. If you like what you saw, please hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Also, comment and let us know what more you want to see, other guests, other foods, and most importantly, please subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.